What's up, guys? All right, we're looking at my iPhone. Why are we looking at this? Because there is a new app for this phone that, I don't know if it's new to me anyway, that's why I'm making this video, but you need to own this app. This app is completely free for any smartphone, and if you're a knife person, you need to own this. There's no excuse not to. The basic idea of it is it shows the composition of every single blade steel on the planet. Okay, every single steel from all around the world that's used in somehow coming to a cutting edge, whether you're talking about a bandsaw blade, whether you're talking about your pocket knife that you're carrying today, maybe a cutting bit on some kind of industrial machinery, whatever. If it's a steel, then it's made to cut things, then its composition is in this app. Why is this important to you? Well, because most of you are asking me all the time, well, is VG10 better than S30V, and what about 440C, and I never heard of CR13MOV, and blah, blah, blah. This is going to explain it all to you. Now, we're going to go over this in detail. The app itself is very straightforward, very simple, but I will explain a little bit as to why you might want to know some of these elements. First of all, if you're into knives as a hobby, if you're not just buying knives, you know, every now and then to use for hunting or for your EMT job or whatever, if you're actually into the hobby, you're going to want to learn a lot about it. And part of that is understanding why things are the way they are. Why does your one buck knife cut better than your one Benchmade knife? You know, it's cheaper. Why does it cut better? Maybe it's the geometry of your edge. Maybe it's the components of the steel in your blade. Who knows? I'm not, you know, those are just basic examples. It could be anything. You know, if you have these questions, if you ever thought, why is this knife so expensive? Why do they use this kind of steel? This will help to explain all this. All right, in some way or another. You're going to need to use your brain for this one. But anyway, before I get into that, I'm not really doing a review of it, but I will tell you this Magpul. Well, all right, here's the review. Magpul cell phone case, best case I've ever had of this style. It's awesome. These little raised parts on the edges do add some grip. All the buttons and features are fully accessible. It's really, whatever material it is, it hasn't even got rub marks in it. I've been throwing this thing around and it's fantastic. The speakers are exposed so you can hear everything great. The bottom's exposed so I don't have to take the phone case off to put on my docking station or my charger. It's stinking awesome. I love it. So, and it's extra tactical because it's Magpul. So anyway, all right, so let's check out this app. Okay, first of all, here's the app right here. It's that little thing. Let this focus. It's got like a fixed blade on there. It says FE26. All right, so let's go to the App Store first and take a look at this app. If you do a search for knife chart, you're going to find one result, and it's going to be this knife steel composition chart. It's put out by ZVI Soft LLC Books. You see 26 people rated this, so 26 of you awesome knife people out there already know about this, but I'm hoping thousands more figure it out because this is awesome. Nothing short of awesome. Now I have an open button here because I already downloaded mine or installed it or whatever. It's completely free. It's not 99 cents, it's not $5. If this was $20, I'd probably buy it for $20 because it's worth it. Having it on your cell phone at all times, all the information you're ever going to need to know. This is much more comprehensive than any website I've ever been on relating to knife steels, ever. All right, so if you bought a knife or you're looking to buy a knife and there's some steel you never heard of, or if it's a steel you've heard of but you don't really know much about it and do like a little Google search and you can't figure it out, this app is going to solve all your problems. It's awesome. So once you download it for free, find it, click on it, and let's take a look at what we got here. Now I'm going to go back to the basics. When you first download it, it's going to go into the standard mode. So this is what it's going to show you. It's going to show you an abbreviation and then the country of origin. All right, what I did when I first got this, because that's basically everything, and it's way too broad of a spectrum to be looking through. I click on lists on the bottom left. Let me show you that again. Bottom left, you have lists, filter, find, database, and more. Click on lists, and this will break it down into other categories. Primarily, I use maker, country, and recently viewed because I basically clicked on the ones I already am interested in comparing. There's a crap load of steels on this app that I've never heard of because maybe they're not directly relating to knives. Maybe it's, like I said, perhaps a cutting bit on some piece of machinery somewhere, or a bandsaw blade, or who knows what. But if it's steel that's used to cut other things, including other steel, it's on this list. So the first thing, let's go to country. There's a couple steels that a lot of us know. All right, that it's not very in-depth, you know, it's just very broadly known among the knife community. All right, for example, let's say VG10. A lot of us know VG10. Companies like Spyderco uses it. SOG has some VG10 in their blades. We pretty much all of us know that VG10 is a Japanese steel. So let's find it. Click on Japan. There's SK5 I was looking at before, which I believe was in some old cold steel knives. Which Camillus put, I think Camillus made some stuff for them. Anyway, it's alphabetical order, so we're in S's. We're going to go way down to bottom to V's. VG, all right, there we go, we passed it. Okay, now you see all these other steels out here. I've never even heard of these. YK3 steel? I don't know. But, here we go. All right, VG1, which some of us know, and most of you know, VG10. Now they're going to show both, it's the same thing, whether they're showing with the hyphen or without the hyphen. They just have it listed twice because sometimes it's referred to without a hyphen. So they're interchangeable though. So we're going to find here is on the top, it's going to show in every single steel, it's going to show the basic composition of that steel. What elements are in that steel? Okay, this is what makes this steel this steel. Now you can see how it's written out here. Okay, the abbreviation C for carbon. In this case, the carbon content of VG10 is between 0.95 and 1.05%. All right, then V for vanadium, CR for chromium. You might not know some of these abbreviations. If you don't, that's easy, because there's plenty of free apps. In this case, the I elements will give you the, there you go, periodic table of elements. So if you didn't know what some of these abbreviations were, find them on the table of elements here. Let's say NI, see that number 28, top middle there, NI, let's click on it. If I can, my big finger, because it's such a tiny thing here. Can I? There we go. No, I click next to it. Copper. Come on. There we go. All right, so Ni, you can see up here, the element is nickel, 28th element. So yeah, if you can get your big old sausage finger to push these little buttons, maybe here. Let me see, I got a pen nearby. Let me see if I can use this as a stylus. Nope. Maybe you need to find a stylus for your iPhone, or just keep playing with it until you pick them. But anyway, there you go. You can find the actual element if you're confused as to what means what. So let's go back here. All right, so we have the actual composition breakdown. All right, now on the bottom left, I believe, where is it? Oh, here, graph. Click on graph. It'll show you the same elements, but in graph form, obviously. And what I do is I go right to graph, and then I'll click on top here where it says legends, and that'll drop me down a easier seen list of the elements, okay? As opposed to being jumbled before. This is a very easy visual. I get my physical numbers there, and then I get a graph, so I can quickly see, okay, well, there's a crap load of chromium in this one, in this specific case. Low amount of carbon, high amount of chromium, and we look at the numbers here. Carbon between 0.95 and 1.05, and chromium 14.5 to 15.5. All right. So, and you can move that if you want to. Go back to alloy data. Now, some of these have notes. Some of the more common ones, the ones you guys are looking for, 440C, 154CM, VG10, D2, all these common knife steels are going to have some kind of writing with it, some kind of note. All right. In this case, let's read this. The note says, VG10 is a high-end stainless steel. Due to the vanadium content, VG10 takes a very good edge and holds it well. Very popular with Japanese kitchen knife makers and with knife makers in general. Typically, it is around 60 to 61 HRC, which is the Rockwell hardness, although some makers take it up to 62 HRC. Miyabi sells knives with CM V60 steel, which are VG10, where CMV is cobalt, molybdenum, and vanadium. And then they'll have some kind of relating steels usually as well. So, another interesting one I saw, which I believe is also Japanese. I'm thinking now. I'm having a brain fart. Let me see if I can scroll down. Oh yeah, here, ZDP 189. That's another one I want to talk to you guys about. All right, everyone knows ZDP 189. It's very expensive. It's also extremely hard. Well, exactly how hard? I don't know how hard it is, but guess what? Now I got this little app. We can go read it together. All right. Latest I'm reading the notes here. Latest super duper PM steel, which I believe is powdered metal steel. Extremely high carbon and chromium content. Okay, carbon is 3%, chromium 20%. Very high hardness. Several makers harden it to 65 or even 67 Rockwell hardness. 67. Most of your steels out there, on average, are between 59 and 61. That's across the board. You're talking about 67. That is an extremely, extremely hard steel. What does that mean? The harder the steel is, the longer it's going to last while it's sharp. Now, if you read on in these notes, the last sentence says, hard to sharpen compared to other steels, but nothing's impossible, really. So, and we go to the graph, and we can see a quick visual on this. Yes, extremely high chromium content on this. All right. Which is 20%. Another one I was looking at before, let me go to lists and recently viewed. Yes, S35VN, which I've just been so impressed with the Microtech Select Fire. I want to learn more about it. There's the components. Obviously, it's put out by Crucible Steel. All right, S35VN, Crucible CPM steel, as I understand, is in its evolution of CPM S30V. It has niobium and nitrogen in it, unlike S30V. Currently, it is quite popular with custom makers and several high-end production knife companies use in including Spyderco, Rick Hinderer, Spartan Blades, Chris Reeve, and many others. Overall, it's a big, tougher alloy compared with CPM S30V, more resistant to chipping as well. However, for the few knives optimized purely for edge holding, S30V is still a better choice. See, and you got opinions in here as well. Now let's look at S30V and comparing the two. I thought this was interesting because I figured out while reading this. Let's get right to it. Several well-known knife makers participated in the development or research of S30V, including Phil Wilson, Sal Glesser, Ernest Emerson, Tony Marifone, William Harsey Jr., Tom Mayo, Jerry Hosum, and Paul Bowes, as well as Chris Reeves. The result is a very good steel, although heat treating it properly was a problem initially. It is an A2 class toughness, as knife steel frequently asked questions states, but still quite tough and wear resistant for the stainless steel. So, really interesting app. I mean, you can learn about all kinds of stuff if you wanted to through this. A lot of you guys out there do have plenty of questions all the time on blade steels. What's this? Why is that? You know, this is not going to give you specific answers. Some of the notes will give you information about stuff, but what this is best suited for, there's a couple things. First of all, you can find a steel using a search, and then afterwards you can figure out where it's made. For example, let's go, I'm going to do this the opposite way. If we go to country, and a lot of people don't like Chinese stuff, right? Well, let's look at some Chinese steels. What are we going to say? Oh, yes. All of our MOV steels that are out there. Let's see what we find here that I'm familiar with anyway. 3CR17 MOV or MO. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see what else we got here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, 7CR17 MOV. Know that, and a few different blades out there. Didn't know it was Chinese, did you? 8CR13 MOV, 8CR14 MOV. All these long ones. The ones that are hard to remember. They're all Chinese steel. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. How'd you like this one to get popular? What kind of blade steel you got? 440. What about you? I got CW6 MO5 CR4V2 steel. Thank you. So yeah, some are certainly harder to remember. Yeah, so it's just interesting. You can figure out where your steel came from, find out what company made it, and go from there. It's interesting. Knowledge is power. It always will be. And if you're interested in the hobby of knives and you want to know more about them, this is a great app to start. Once you have an understanding of what different type of elements will do for you, what's the purpose of having chromium in your blades? What's the purpose of having a high carbon content? What does this do? What does that do? Once you figure this stuff out, you can look at these charts and you can dissect each blade steel out there and understand its pros and its cons, its strengths and its weaknesses. And from there, if you want a good user blade, you want an outdoor blade, you can pinpoint exactly what kind of element content you want in your steel that's going to perform best for you. All right, the guy who's in an office area and he's cutting up boxes, he's going to want a different type of blade, a blade steel to begin with, never mind whole different blade shape, maybe geometry of his edge, stuff like that, as opposed to the guy in the woods chopping wood, or doing bushcraft work. So it's really interesting. It's a free app, and like I said, for a lot of you guys, also download some free version of the periodic table of elements. So this way, if you see an abbreviation for something you don't know, I don't know all of them. I know the basics. You know, I know chromium, I know palladium, I know titanium, I know carbon. That kind of stuff is easy, and pretty much you can guess what it is by looking at the abbreviation, but some of them I don't know. All right, so I do have to look a couple of them up here, and then I go, oh, okay, duh. And in some cases, after I find out an element, I'll go to just a regular internet search on here and figure out what my blade is benefiting from that. Why did they add that certain element into my blade? What was the purpose of it? And I go, okay, I get it. Maybe it was for rust resistance. Maybe it was for overall strength. So, interesting stuff. Anyway, there's my other apps if you're interested. These are all the apps I use, the ones that are on the first. This is like crap I just don't usually use. This is what I use. I use Notepad all the time because I stopped carrying paper. I use the maps all the time for GPS. I like to know what the weather is. Yes, I finally had music on my phone. I feel like I'm so outdated. I never put music on this phone ever. Because I never want to download music, whether it's free or paying for it. It's just like, whatever. How often do we need music? However, I can tell you what's awesome, I'm talking about in the future too, is that I'm starting to carry my phone, and I have the cheapo pair of headphones that came with it to listen to music while I'm exercising. It really motivates you. You get a good song pumping in your head, maybe you walk that extra mile and a half, or maybe you run just a little bit faster, or just pump a little bit more weights. So music is very beneficial with working out. Get you going, get you moving. Calendar, obviously. This is cool. I still follow the metals market. So I like to see, whoop, I clicked on the wrong one. DHF. This is a quick converter. So if I want to see, I don't know, let's say silver. Let's say I have 999 fine silver and grams. All right, let's say I have 8 grams. How much is that worth in today's market? As of right this second, 8 grams of silver is worth $8.23. All right, so let's say I have, I don't know, let's go to troy ounces, 67 troy ounces of silver. It's worth $2,100 or $21.42.66. Really interesting. You go back to market prices, you can see the list. This is what it's actually at. This is what it's estimated to change to. It's updated every 4 minutes, it says. Pretty cool. I like it. I follow the market still and like to see what silver and gold's at. It's really interesting how gold has surpassed platinum basically from the beginning of the year. I think early last year is when it really went over. But platinum's been the most expensive precious metal for a very, very long time, and of course, with the gold rush and everything, it's changed. Besides that, iScrap is just a calculator for base metals. I also follow base metals as well, just for the heck of it. Why not? Figure out what copper's worth and stuff like that. Is a cigar thing, just to find cigar shops or smoke shops in general, because besides cigars, pretty much every smoke shop out there carries Zippos. So if I'm traveling somewhere I haven't been before, I'll pop in my location over there, and I'll use the GPS on my phone to figure out what smoke shops are nearby. If I didn't know one existed, I'll pop in, I'll see what kind of Zippo stuff they have, and or cigars. This is actually, I don't know what game this is, but this is really fun and addicting. I can't play it through my thing here. Cool little range game, but it's obviously interactive with how you're aiming, and it's very funky. I don't know what that's called. You guys could ask me, so I don't know, just what did I click on? Just gun. I don't know, GUN. The knife chart just showed you, which is awesome. Just the best thing ever. Pocket knife. This is cool, interesting little tips. I use this for a flashlight occasionally, even though I have a million flashlights on me. But you turn that on, and it'll keep your flash from your camera on constant, so you can use this to find stuff. But a couple other things in here too. Fake night vision. It's supposed to be night vision, but it's cheesy. It's really just whatever you're looking at with green color in the background, and a couple other things. And for exercising, I like this. This GPS basically follows your wherever you're walking, to tell you how far you walked and stuff. And then of course the elements table. So that's it. That's my phone, and that's the app for Knife Elements. If you guys like your knives and you want to learn more about them, download that app. It's completely free. I have nothing to do with it. No one told me to do this. I took my friend today to go to the doctor's, and I was waiting in the waiting room for a while, and I thought, hey, let me look at the apps and see what's up. And that's what I found, and I was just smitten by it. That's right, I was just downright smitten. It was a pretty darn cool find, so I want to share with all you good people out there. So that's it. thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.